The second internal parasite, we give it a name, city Liverfluke. I hope you still recall the structure of a Liverfluke. Remember we said a Liverfluke iti I miss ogwani ogwe. Sorry, iti I miss ogwani ogwe leaf as we say it here. Remember city Liverfluke, you may find that good base structure esimangalo hlobo lol, and then here iti ibenalama veins are represented in a liver fluke. So we say this is a structure of a liver fluke. Then we said, people, it requires what? A wet environment for it to survive. We talked about this part introduction. Then this is what I want you to master here. Let's look at the life cycle of a liver fluke. And please make sure that you understand it. The life cycle of a liver fluke. We say, people, a liver fluke, it has an indirect life cycle. If we say a liver fluke is an indirect life cycle, we simply mean that it requires what? It requires two hosts to complete its life cycle. It's a liver fluke and it ibena life cycle and indirect. Kusho ukuthini lokho? Kusho ukuthi idinga ama-host awu-2 to complete its life cycle. Then I will tell you which are these different hosts that we have. But just to brief you, we have the two hosts. We will have the farm animal. We'll have the farm animal. Siphinde sibe nani, sibe ne intermediate host. Intermediate host is snail. So if farm animal, it is the main host. Then a snail, it will be the intermediate host. Let's look at this cycle, people. What happens is that the eggs will get matured where? In the bile duct of the liver. Remember that there is a liver, then there is a bile duct closer to the liver. So there is a bile duct that begins from the gallbladder going down to the duodenum. So the eggs will get matured in the bile duct. When the eggs get matured in the bile duct, then they will go to the alimentary canal. What will happen to the eggs, mangabasa alimentary canal? The eggs will be excreted with what? With the manure, your feces. That's what is happening. You have the eggs, they go through the bile duct, they pass to the alimentary canal, then they move up until they're excreted. Now the eggs, they will be where? They will be in the environment, in the grass. And they like a wet environment. So what will happen next is that the eggs will hatch. When the eggs hatch, they will develop to a structure that we call miracidia. That's how I pronounce it. They will go to a structure called miracidia. What will happen to the miracidia? The miracidia will enter or will invade a snail. Remember, we say a snail is what? It's an intermediate host. They like to ask this question. That's why I'm trying to focus on it much. Then this miracidia, the miracidia will then develop up until it forms what? A sicaria. Still igu grass. The sicaria will also go to what? To a metasicaria, which is closer to the matured one. Will go to a metasicaria. Then the metasicaria or the sicaria will then be ingested by the animal through grazing. Then now metasicaria segu animal say ingestweni isilwane. Then iya move foot again iyolea kuphi ama eggs kuphi ku bile duct or liver or ku liver closer to the bile duct. Let's look at it again. We are saying the eggs aguphi ama eggs agu bile duct. What happens to the eggs? They are deposited where? To the alimentary canal. What will happen from then? The animal will excrete menu. When they excrete the menu, inside the menu kunani kunama eggs. What happens to the eggs? Now the eggs will then hatch. Mostly they hatch easily if the environment is what? Is wet. They hatch to form what? A miracidia. From the miracidia will go and invade or enter what? A snail. Sithi snail siyini isihlobo sami? See intermediate host. Then it will develop from miracidia and go to what? To a sicaria. Then the sicaria will develop and form what? The metasicaria. What will happen to the metasicaria? The metasicaria will be eaten by what? By the animal. When the animal is grazing, when it is eating the grass, it will take the miracidia with what? With the grass. Then the miracidia will be ingested by the animal through grazing. Then it also releases eggs. Then the eggs will develop up until they get what? They get matured. That is the simplest part of this cycle. But let's change it. Let's look at it like this way. Let's look at it like this way, people. I think that it will be very easy for us to understand it. We are saying, people, here, what we have here, sine liver, ne? I-liver izo kune-bile duct ku-liver ekhipha ini ama-egg cells. Lama eggs, so not egg cells exactly. Lama eggs angena kuphi? Ku-alimentary canal. Isilwane senza njani la? Siya excrete. Nakho manje sesinani? Sesinama eggs. What will happen kulama eggs? The eggs azo yagupi ku grass. Let's say here it's grass. The environment is what? Is wet. And what will happen now to the eggs? The eggs will then hatch. When the eggs they hatch, they form what we call miracidia. What will happen? The miracidia will develop to form what? A sicaria. Then a sicaria iyongena kuphi? Ku snail. Remember sithe yini snail? It's our intermediate host. Now we have the sicaria here. What happens to the sicaria? The sicaria gets matured. Siyahamba iyoba yini sicaria? Iyoba yi metasicaria. What will happen to this metasicaria? Look at this animal. The animal is grazing. So what will happen to the metasicaria? The metasicaria will be ingested by the animal through grazing. They like to ask this question: how is an animal infected by the Liverfluke? You will say the animal will be infected by Liverfluke through ingestion while grazing. That's how you can put it. So that is the simplest part of it. So what is crucial? What is crucial here? Understand the stages. Mawuqeda to understand the stage is stages. Wazi ukuthi sine intermediate host okuyi-snail. Mawuqeda to understand ukuthi sine intermediate host okuyi-snail after ama stages. Bese uyabuya uzala ukuthi isilwane ke manje sizo-infecteka kanjani. Uyazi ukuthi si-infecteka kanjani? Through grazing. Then sibuye futhi okubalekile yazi ukuthi lena yini, it's a two horse life cycle. Mangabe kuyi two horse life cycle fanele wazi lama host awu2. Fanele wazi ukuthi ile farm animal, which is a cow in this case, bese kuba nani? Kuba yi snail, which is an intermediate host. If farm animal le yona i main host, le kuyi intermediate host, it's just need it to complete its life cycle. Sizobheka ukuthi what can we do in order to reduce any or to treat or to prevent any Liverfluke. We must destroy their intermediate host. So in that case, the life cycle will not be complete. I hope you understand this one clear. Let's quickly move on to our symptoms. To our symptoms. Now you can see the cattle there, which are the animal host. Then let's look at the symptoms. The symptoms Before we move any further, do you see area here? We have area. Remember, area slobo sam ipinde ingene nakuphi naku tapeworm. So for one question, for one answer, one word, you already have an answer for 3 questions. Symptoms of tapeworm, diarrhea. Symptom of liverfluke, diarrhea. Symptom of roundworm, diarrhea. But then let's look at the other symptoms. One, it will damage the liver. Remember, we said it's a liver fluke. So very, it will do what? It will damage the liver. Then we say it causes anemia or anemia. Sometimes they will ask you this question. The question will be saying, which metabolic, I want you to master this one, which metabolic disease is caused by the liver fluke? Your answer will if it's anemia. It's very important for you to understand this one. So people, we have these symptoms. One, damages the liver. Because it's anemia, it causes what? Diarrhea. Then we also say it will lead to a drop in milk production. So they are very simple. Remember what you do. Just make sure that you master 3 of them. You master 3 of them. If you can master 3 of them, you will be fine. But when you master the 3 of them, never forget the area. I hope you understand this one thoroughly. Let's look at the treatment. What I want you to understand here, people, when we talk about the treatments, when we talk about the liver fluke, siyawahlukanisa. Sithi sine chemical treatment, sine biological control, we also have pasture management. This is what I want you to do. When you come across a question, treatment of liver fluke, look at the question thoroughly and check whether do they want chemical treatment, do they want biological control, or they want pasture management. That's what I want you to check. When you talk about the pasture management and the biological control, they mostly fall under what? Preventative measures. Let's look at this one. I will only focus on the first one. What you can do here, destroy the intermediate host. What is the name of the intermediate host? Remember, snail, using fluticide. Once you destroy the intermediate host, it simply means that the snail will not, the liver fluke will not be able to finish its life cycle. Because for it to finish its life cycle, the Sicaria must enter what? The Sicaria must enter what? The snail. So what you do, destroy the intermediate host. I want to focus on this one only here. Then let's look at the biological control. On this one, people, what they can do, section A, bangafika bakunike this statement, the first statement. They say dung beetles are helpful in removing manure from pasture, but in large herds of cattle it is impossible. They say dung beetles are helpful in removing manure. But which way of controlling liver fluke? Sometimes they will say, is it a chemical control or a biological control? It's what? It's a biological control. So make sure that you take note of this one. Okay, but so what do we do here? We use dung beetles. There are those beetles afike enze njani sihlobo sami? Arole in the menu. Uthola ngathi asenze ini imenu ibhola ne. So they roll the menu, when they roll menu, what they are doing, they are removing the menu. So indirectly so, they are cleaning the environment. They are cleaning that grazing, that grazing yard. So the first thing that that we do in biological control. You can put your dung beetles there. That will remove what? The manure. 2, you also introduce natural elements and enemies to control the internal parasite. You introduce those enemies that will feed those animals, that will feed on what? On the internal pastures. So this one is very simple. You use dung beetles to remove the manure. You introduce natural enemies that will eat what? The internal pastures. The last one, pasture management. Pasture management. Under pasture management, they are simple. There is one that I want you to master. I want you to master this one and also this one. Why I say take note of bullet number 1 and bullet number 2. Why I say take note of rotational grazing and wet and avoiding wet pastures. Remember that when we talk about a tapeworm, siphinde sakhuluma ngalawa awu-2 sakhuluma ngalawa awu-2 good. Even good tapeworm, you must practice rotational grazing. You must also avoid wet places. But then let's look at the others. So it's rotational grazing, it's avoiding wet places. Then we also say rest infected pastures. You must be able to rest infected pastures so that you will deal with the Liverfluke that is there. You also practice zero grazing. Remember, we must talk about the feedlot. Maskhuluma ngani? Maskhuluma ngama animal production. When we talk about intensive production system, we say there's a feedlot. So what you can do, you can just provide your animals with feed. Zingagai emadlelweni. You provide the animals with feed there in your farm. Don't take them to the pastures, because in the pastures, they will come across what? The Liverfluke. So you practice what? Rotational grazing. You can also remove manure. It's whether you use the dung beetles or you just go around and removing the manure. So that is the simplest part, people. What is crucial here, what I want you to master, umbambela ini i-life cycle. Moqeda understand i-life cycle yonke la besichaza kuphela. Then you must also be able to check it here in a picture. This picture, they may change it. This life cycle, they may change it. But there are things that will never change. This one, the way in which an animal feed get infected will not change. The intermediate host will not change. So make sure that you understand it in that way. When we get time, I will give you questions I will give you questions that will make sure that it's control everything. Then you must take note of the preventative measures. It's your chemical, it's your biological control, and the pasture management. It's very simple. Please make sure that you understand it very well. I thank you.